Governor, given this incident on top of all the drama and melodrama and conflict of this year politically in the state, I mean, do you worry about the perception of Wisconsin from outside the state? Do you worry how the state looks as a political entity, how it looks in terms of its civic culture to the rest of the country, to people outside Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think, and I was on public radio this morning, and the interviewer asked me about this particular issue and asked if I had felt some responsibility for it. And I said, I mean, I look at that and think anybody who's filed the court knows that there's been some deep passion and some disagreements, not even ideological. I mean, Bill Bavich and Shirley Abrahamson ideologically should be aligned, had a huge gap of disagreement on there. So unfortunately, there have been issues amongst personalities on the Supreme Court for some time. That's a problem Wisconsin's had that predates this year, predates this administration, or even the last couple of administrations, and that's got to be dealt with. I mean, I think that is somewhat foreign. You look at the United States Supreme Court, obviously, in many cases, there's a big gap in terms of one block versus another block, but they're pretty civil. And I think that's an expectation more than anywhere in the courts and in the Supreme Court. And again, I don't know the right way to resolve that other than the fact that it has to be resolved. In the larger context, it's interesting because clearly I want Wisconsin to move on. I mean, I think getting back to the Wisconsin way, talking about things, I think our Read to Leave initiative, I think some of the things we're looking to do with health care, bringing people in, I think even just time, every day, week, and month that goes by, that the world doesn't fall apart, that people get back to talk. There's still going to be passionate flare-ups in the legislature and issues just like there always has. There just haven't been that many people watching in the past. I think that's important. But I also think, and maybe part of it is after we get past April 9th and then the following week on these recalls, maybe that'll help, because one of the things I think is interesting, and you all have kind of commented on the editorial pages on bits and pieces of this, but think about this. I go, most people don't know this, but I go up until the end of the school year. I was going out about once a week as part of a reading initiative to read to second or third graders at different schools around the state of Wisconsin. I was here in Milwaukee at one stop. And then I actually meet with teachers for about an hour afterwards. Some people were kind of shocked to hear that, thinking, wow, and I don't put preconditions in what people talk about. So you can only imagine, it varies by school, but some spend the first 10, 15 minutes chewing my head off. And I often get questions from some of the teachers who say, why are you attacking teachers? And I'll say, okay, that's an interesting question. Since the day I introduced this bill back in February on collective bargaining, people can go on YouTube and just about anything I've said, whether it's ordering custard at Gillies, there's probably somebody YouTubing me there, or anywhere else. Everywhere I've been, it's on YouTube. So I said, go and type my name and do a search. So for all the times during that entire time period, you've heard me comment about public employees, public servants, teachers, anything else, I said, all I've said are good things. My kids go to public schools. I went to public schools. I talk about my respect for the 300,000 public servants in this state. Now, that doesn't mean people have to agree with me. They may be passionately opposed to the reforms we put in place to reform collective bargaining, put more power back in the hands of the people at the local level. But I haven't attacked anybody. You talk about polarizing. Have you heard any attacks against folks in this debate? You haven't heard it from me or my administration. You have heard it from other individuals, increasingly those organizations that came in from outside of Wisconsin to get involved in this debate. Now again, they have every right to inform the debate, to be a part of the debate. But when you look at, talking about looking from the outside into Wisconsin, where has the polarization come from? Where have the attacks come from? They haven't come from what we've said. Again, people may not agree with it, but you look at the tone of the debate has largely been driven from groups that came in outside and I actually said to the teachers, I said, I've never attacked. You may disagree with what I'm advocating, but I've never attacked. I said, ironically, it's been your teachers union that portrayed this as an attack, and I think unfairly instilled fear into many of those teachers that they were under attack far beyond what was being discussed or part of the debate.